It's been a couple weeks, but looking back to the win in San Jose, what were some big picture pieces that you liked from that game?
I think we started the game really well, had a lot of control. We looked as we want to look moving forward, where we have a nice balance between having enough of the ball to keep ourselves connected as a team, but we used the ball in an aggressive way. We created a good number of chances. We played with a good rhythm. We were very comfortable defensively. We were able to protect our territory well, but we also pressed with a real intensity at the right moments. And I think that first, say, 25 minutes up until the goal, or the moment slightly beforehand, we had that really balanced look about us that we haven't often had over the course of the last few months. But you feel that's a product of hopefully a team coming together, training time, cohesion, and I thought we handled the conditions relatively well, in the sense that there was some pressure around the game for us. We did have to go there and win, and I think to produce a performance that was largely controlled was great. We of course fell into what is a pretty typical trap for us, I would say, around the goal that we conceded and some of the moments that led up to it, which was disappointing, and that's an evolving piece for us. But I think largely it was a really good day for us, and it helps us with momentum, and it's meant that the last 2 weeks have been really positive, and we're really looking forward to the game on Saturday.
And speaking of some of that cohesion and growing together with the two-forward system, are you starting to see some signs of what you may want to see with Yeboah and the next striker alongside of him?
Yeah, we've obviously wanted to look, or we've wanted to be a team that has some flexibility and adaptability at the top end of the pitch, and I think over the course of that game we were able to, for the first time, albeit it was for a very short period, defend with the back four at points. We looked pretty cohesive, I would say, defending in a front two, which is often difficult relative to the shape we played, and we obviously had some really good moments with the ball, and we were able to really attack the back line with a relentlessness, I would say, that we often haven't had. So it was a big step forward in that sense, and also a return to us being the team that we were at our best this year, where we can flick between a number of shapes and a number of different approaches according to who we've got on the pitch or the way in which the opposition's playing. So I felt like that more than most of the games we played recently was a return to what hopefully is normal for us.
We've got the full complement of summer transfer signings now here and ready to go with Joaquín Pereyra. Is that sort of an exciting experiment for you, and do you understand sort of how he will slot in, or will it take some time to determine that?
Yeah, it's I suppose a quirk of this situation that we're in is that there's no time for slow adaptation. There's no time for experimentation. We've got games coming up that are very consequential for this season, and we want to try and find a way for him to hit the ground running. We've been fortunate in a sense. We've had some training time with him since he's been in, but obviously that's been disrupted by the international, so it hasn't been in with the full complement. We haven't been able to work tactically, I suppose, in any real detail, but he's a good player who's got games and minutes under his belt already this season, and I would expect him to find it relatively comfortable to slot into what we're doing. So he's one that I hope will be a difference maker between now and the end of the year, but I'm also appreciative of some of the possible stumbling blocks that you can encounter in this situation. So we will take our time with our evaluation of him, but I am confident that he's someone that can really contribute very quickly.
And looking ahead, the St. Louis team we've yet to face this year, what are your expectations for Saturday?
Yeah, they've had a slight change of fortune over the course of the last couple of games. They're obviously really fighting for their lives at the bottom in the same way that we are, in the same way that a lot of the teams are that are around us. And they're a team that I'm sure are looking at this game as being absolutely crucial for the remainder of their season and their fortune. So I think we've got to make sure that we handle that situation well, that we understand the magnitude of the game for us, but also for them, because that will certainly play its part in how it feels there. From what I've seen so far of their atmosphere and what they've been able to create in a short space of time since they've been born as a franchise, it's impressive. And I think the occasion is something that we first and foremost need to make sure that we're on top of before we start talking about the technical sides of the game.
Well, international break, so the team, for the most part, got a break, got a week to recover. Talk about, how you guys found recovery, and then how you have been preparing to get back into this pretty crucial first part of the end of the season here.
Yeah, I think the recovery element, we had a nice few days off after an inter-squad last week, which I think that was really the the bulk of our training load over the past 2 weeks of just being able to play a 60-minute match, even, I mean, albeit against ourselves, but the ability to be in a game environment, working on some of the concepts that we're going to need going down the stretch here was really helpful.
Yeah, and talking about that, it's going to be a tight race in the Western Conference, just for the playoff itself, but then for the last couple spots. What are some key focal points, some key points of emphasis that our squad is going to need in this last stretch, need to successfully carry out in this last stretch of the season?
Yeah, there's a myriad of things, right? But I think the most important ones are understanding that every game matters, of course, but belief, right? Like there's not that many points separating 4th place to 9th place. There's really not. So I think for us it's believing that we can push, and 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, whatever it is, however many wins we think we can get more. So I think it's that belief and that confidence to go say, home or away, we're coming to win. And I think we've found that we're in good stead when we push to win and try not to lose. And when we're playing not to lose, that's when the games become tricky. But when we're being protagonists and really pushing against the opponent, I think that's when we found success this year.
And looking to this weekend, it'll be a St. Louis team that has had a bit of a different season compared to their last. However, I mean, their stadium is a new, strong environment in MLS. And they are equally going to continue to fight as well. What's an early scouting report this week from your perspective on what might be difficult facing up against them, and what might be something that you guys can present as a challenge against them?
Yeah, I mean, I think even if the season hasn't maybe gone the way they expected based on last year, if you watch how they play, their intensity, their ability to win duels, the quality of players like Leuven and these types of guys, João Klaus can score. They have a lot of difference makers if you allow it, right? And I think the early scouting report is they're going to be stingy, they're going to be difficult to break down, and they're always going to put you under pressure. So I think for us, it's having composure. I mean, we've been really working on that, training in, training out, and understanding that you always have to match the competition in these games. Any team can beat any team, but for us, what we found, like I said, is when we are competitive, when we're punching first, when we're being aggressive, we give ourselves the best chance to win.